Let's get this over with because I'm in a lousy mood. By the way, this is one of these ramps that I babbled about in part 1 and part 2. This will be part 5, which is actually part 3 about me making a video, which is I'll call, you know, part 1 or part 0 or part numberless, because this will be the one as I've tried everything else and no one has the answer. Sorry to say. What's this? Annoying for it is. I was even at PRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRR whatchamacall, but who cares? That's just sitting around the hub up there. Another wheel well, which had just vanished over the last 10, 12 years in this car. And I was looking at the other cars, and I learned a few little skididness. Ow! Ow! That's Homer Simpson. I find myself even Homerier than Homer himself. Not to brag. That's where those gloves are. Always you find things when you stop looking for them. These are my gloves that I took all the way to pick you apart, a long trip and back. A couple times. There were some complications, including freezing hands and negative 10 below zero wind chill factor. Right now it's a nice toasty 30 degrees. That's why I'm gonna knock this video down real quick, which I'm in no mood to make. I did say I was in a lousy mood, did I not? I think I said that. For the record. There's an entire suspension front and back for this car. Ow! Get out. There, that kind of thing. Alright, anyway, enough babble. By the way, there's a reason I'm coming over here like this. That jack is right at the said spot of the fake or real frame rail, the top of this, whatever it's called, 4-ton whatchamacallit jack with adapter. Looking where it is directly beneath the seat. If the thing ends up here, if you can see that, if my camera is pointed at it, moving straight back, it ends right where the seat starts, where the floor takes a right angle upward, although it's much further distance here than it is there, which means there's a blank spot right here, which I have called, what did I call that? The unknown space beneath, USB, not the cable for phones, unknown space beneath FRt something area, I guess. USBFA. That is what is above the fake or unfake real frame rails. I don't want to say real frame rails, real or unreal frame rails, unknown. And what is above them is a blank spot of about 2 inches. The seat here goes down a little bit once you go in like this, but it doesn't go down 7 inches. It goes down like 3. And there's 4 inches of space between that and the top of the fake or not fake, real or unreal frame rail, which is going underneath the seat, the fart area. Although the fart area is just in the cushion. If someone farts in the cushion, then there's a metal thing that's recessed, as I just said, that will stop the fart fumes, which that was the only thing that might have held up the entire car is the fart fumes, but it's not. So it depends how strong that metal is and the space beneath it if there's a frame, hence this video. Which I'm going to send this part 0 to this or that mechanic. I'll say it's all on part 0 of this video. And I'll say fast forward, I babble for the first 4.5 minutes, 4 minutes, 25 seconds, or whatever. I might throw that in there too. Found these gloves exactly when and where I expected, of course. Not surprised. Let's take a look at the USBFA rectangle. Funny thing about this car, I've noticed that the entire weight of the car rests on top of these struts, which wraps around and goes on top of the back seat. You could fold down the back seat. There's just a thin area where there's probably flat metal between the top of those, the 3 bolts on top of that strut and that strut over there somewhere. I'm not pointing to it, just I can't move my phone under this car too well. And it holds the entire weight of this car. All these things go to squiggle. They're all vertical. They're all horizontal. They go to things that turn like this. They're not holding up the weight of the car. This subframe holds up the weight of the car, but none of these stabilizer bars or anything that go to it do. This trailer arm doesn't either. It goes to something that looks pretty solid up there, but it just has a alternating circular thing on it. Nothing is holding this car on top of the hub assemblies, whatever they're called, I forget. Knuckle, whatchamacallit, not these knuckles, that knuckle something or other, this thing up here, except those bolts on the top of the back seat. So if someone says, where is this entire car resting when you're driving down the street and it's going over bumps and you're doing jumps and all that stuff, or not, it's on that thin piece of metal that's vertical like this on top of the 2 back seats. Meanwhile, this thing, which was a known recommended jack point, look at that, a spider's hovering up there. That's kind of cool. Spiders don't whine about the weather like humans do. I'm impressed. In fact, a little bit bitterly jealous, I might add. But dogs are smarter than, are tougher than humans too, I've noticed about the weather lately. I've been walking around in this cold for quite a skididget. This thing, the subframe, which isn't just thing you see, it actually wraps in a loop to here and a loop around here. And then when you want to take it down to change all these rear suspension parts, you got to literally take it down by, I guess, wherever these bolts are, I forget. They're somewhere up here hidden. Probably there, and the same thing on the other side. This whole thing rests on something that's thin and made of some kind of thin flat metal that holds up, that you can check up the entire car from at least right here, maybe from right there and there. Another thin piece of metal, a thin piece of metal that holds up the car on a usual basis behind the back seats. A thin piece of metal, I'm just saying maybe, it could be thin, likely be thin, with this new uni-frame thing. That holds up the whole car there with some hidden thin piece of metal. It's not there, it's not where these holes are, it's above all that. What you see up there, like that, even looks like a little sideways frame rail. Although it's not touching this thing so much. Meanwhile, something up there that's flat and unknown holds up the weight of this thing, which holds up the weight of this cross member, rear cross member, or subframe, which holds up the weight of the whole car. Just like the whole car is resting on the top of the back shocks, on the back of the back seats, which is another flat thing. And now the question is about this baby flat thing, which no one talks about. Here's a spare tire, it's in the trunk. Somewhere behind the spare tire around here is where the trunk ends. And there's this gas tank, which sounds like we're out of gas, but this is just a plastic thing over the gas tank. And the gas tank goes underneath the seat, apparently. As you recall, the seat started here. I'm upside down, so is this camera. And I'm not in a good mood to make a video, so that's half the reason this video sucks, if you're wondering. But I wanted to get it done today. Well, it was a nice toasty 30 degrees. Busy day already. This fake subframe, or reel, did I say subframe? I meant frame rail. This fake or real, this fake or non-fake frame rail, or real or unreal frame rail, goes underneath all this stuff. And I found out when I was at the parts store, because I haven't been looking too carefully here, that this thing, let's see if it's true. The ones I looked at it was. There's so much stuff on this I can't see it. I'll look over here. Less stuff obstructing it. Damn you. There's another thing obstructing it. It's the whatchamacallit. This one's different. Where's my camera light? My camera's upside down now. This is annoying. This is different. This is welded on. The one I saw, the two that I looked at the parts yard were bolted on. This is welded on, but either way, it is attached to the bottom of the unknown Space Bneath FRt Area. So far, it is only known that the fart area that the person's farts, if someone farts, goes beneath the cushion and holds this up. Now there's metal at the bottom of the seat area, stopping the fart fumes from holding us up. The metal beneath the seat may have some strength to it, but there's a 2-inch space between that and this. And in that space, there may be a cross whatchamacallit beam that gets to, that has the strength of all the other flat cross things that are invisible that hold up the weight of the entire car. Maybe, maybe not. That's the question. This thing, oh, good grief. This thing does touch over here, just like it does touch over there, as if it's resting on this thing, which is pretty empty. You could, I'm wrapping my finger around it. This is thin. This is resting on a thin piece of metal, as you can hear, which goes over there and attaches to the, not the recommended pinch hole spots, which is there. Camera. Here's one of the recommended pinch hole spots. If you look on the manual, it says 4 inches above this. This is already a foot in front of the wheel well. So everything on the manual disagrees with the actual car. But this is one recommended spot of the pinch well here. And there's a pinch well. Rusty. Oh, damn it. There it is. I don't prefer to use this because I already collapsed this and the out one by accident once. And I bent it back with pliers, but that makes it more subject to rusty here. But either way, it's rusty. And I hear a lot of them rust anyway. This flat thing that is attached to this fake or real frame rail is welded to this thing. I gotta stop looking at it and make sure the camera's looking at it. Good grief. Let me not be one of those YouTube videos. The frame rail is welded to this thing. I can see it's welded. There's no rivets or anything. There's some circles, but it's not. It's welded to this thing, which is welded to this thing, which is welded to this thing, which is the top of both trailing arms, which is a sign that the trailing arms may have some strength. It's one of my jack points. In my other video, the trailing arm, the pinch skipper trailing arm gizmo. But anyway, it attaches to this, which also attaches to the bottom of the pinch weld. In this case, almost exactly where the pinch weld is, it is one of its recommended spots. Now, all this stuff, for example, this frame rail, some people say it's a part of the chassis, some people it's a part of the body, part of the frame, or it is part of the chassis, part of the body. Every single description you hear on the internet is different because no one knows what the words, chassis, frame, body, name it. They all have, everyone's got a different definitions of what those words mean, so they have a different definition of what this is a part of, because those words have been obscured to the point of complete meaninglessness. They have countless definitions and therefore mean nothing in particular. And as far as this car being, there has been recommended to do it on years of the early 2000s, but at some point this car changed from body on frame. By the way, that word has no meaning either, body. It changed from body on frame to unibody. No one knows. Someone was saying this when it became a Type W. Well, there's two Type Ws. A Type W between 99 and 2005, and there's a different Type W frame, unibody, this, that, and other, all words of which have no meaning because they've been obscured to infinite meanings and therefore nothing in particular. That is from 2005 or sometime in that year changing to 2013. That means when it was recommended on that one video, I think it was video 3 on this playlist, that recommended from 2005 to 2003 to 2005. After that, at some point, that could have been the first W body, or they could all be W bodies, they could all be unibodies. Then it became different from 2005 to 2013. So no one knows exactly when this car, short story short, became a unibody, or if it still has a partial frame rail that's actually real. And as far as the question is, on top of the frame rail there, where you see, if this camera could look past anything, there's a frame rail, there's some electrical wires. Let me get this camera so this thing isn't in the way and all that stuff. Let me turn this thing around. There's the side of the frame rail, and back there, up there, sorry, about 3 or 4 inches up is a flat thing, which does not go, might go on top of this gas tank if this tank is that shallow. But if it does, it's great, because that means there's a flat thing going across which may have the strength to hold on these real or unreal frame rails, and then which also goes over here in the same place on top of this thing, which means this thing could have some strength, and attaches to something near the pinch welds there. That's the whole question. Is this frame rail real? Is this real? Is that real? Is this car a unibody? When do they start making unibodies? Most of all, are these two jackspots real? There's another fake frame rail resting on the floor bar. This is where the person's feet are, here. Some point further up there. I said there was space. This is the blank area. No, it's not really. It's where the top of this thing comes to that, to where the top of this frame, this real or unreal frame rail connects to the flat thing, is the empty space with a few more inches between it and the seat, and that's the, not even the FRt area, it's the unknown space beneath the FRt area, which may or may not have cross steel and be strong like a frame or chassis. And that's the mystery. The only thing, I've tried everyone, I've asked every website I know of, I've gone to the parts side, I've looked there, and here. This is the final video, part number 5, which is actually part number 1, which is actually part number 0, part numberless. And it is this question conundrum, and I'll tell mechanics, see this video, I'll tell them it's very annoying and I babbled and rambled on and whined about everything, which is what I'm doing right now. And that's the question, does this thing have any strength? Part of it is bolted to this, which I'm guessing is where people's feet go. Hope this thing's still videoing because there's the low battery lights blocking my view of the screen. This thing is roughly where people's feet go. The floor pan, that's why some people call this a floor pan frame rail. Well, floor pans are meant to hold up like a 200-300 pound person, not a 2,000-3,000 pound car. Actually, the back of this car's almost 4,000 pounds with stuff in the trunk. It is 2 tons. The back of it's 1 ton. One half of it's about 1,000 pounds. You never know if it's on tilted ground or anything. The little battery light keeps coming on and screwing up this video. Now it's dark. Now the flash is off. Luckily, the video was done.